Hello, good morning and good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for being here with us on this webinar, which will be focused on unleashing the power of SAP S4HANA API and EDI testing and virtualization for UiPath solutions with INT4 IFTT testing solution. Here with me I have Lev. Hello, Lev.
Hi, Marcin.
Thank you for joining me for this webinar. And maybe to give it a slow start, I'll take you through some general notes about the meeting today. So the session is recorded, and of course the recording will be available for participants via email. All participants are muted upon entry, and if you have any questions, please use the chats in the Click meeting, and from there we will capture the questions and we will answer them at the end of this meeting in the dedicated time for the Q&A session. Okay, Lev, would you take us through the agenda?
Yes, sure. Guys, today we prepared an agenda for you with the main focus actually on live demos. Yeah. So today we are going to speak about INT4 platform. We're going to speak about UiPath platform, and we put once more the focus on live demos. We will show you a few slides, and then let's go live. That you will get a first feeling how it works, how it behaves, that you can see it live. Yeah, and then once more raise your questions, and we will answer all of them. Yeah, at the end of this journey. Great. So this was an agenda, and now coming to the introduction. So my name is Lev Kushner. I'm leading the whole initiative for SAP at UiPath. So we are developing the tool. We are doing promotion of the tool. Yeah. So SAP is my world at UiPath. And with me I have Marcin.
Thank you very much, Lev. Marcin Gałczyński. I'm the head of IFTT product in INT4, responsible for the product roadmap and its delivery. And today with Lev, we'll be showing you how our solutions can nicely work together in tandem.
Guys, and you have seen, so the whole presentation is built like red and blue. Yeah, so one company, another company. And when I'm thinking about this, I see actually this picture. Yeah, so some of you may recognize this picture is actually the Matrix movie, where the main character Neo is offered to choose between red pill and blue pill by rebel leader Orpheus. You see him on the picture. Yeah, and if I will do a parallel like a red pill, yeah, so in the movie it was, if you're going to choose a red pill, you're going to be back like in a tough reality. Yeah, and the red pill, I see this is like a UiPath. This is where you're doing UI automation. This is our current reality. We are doing UI automation across all different systems. Yeah, and with the blue pill, actually INT4 is coming in the place. And blue pill was about about your dreams. You're going to be in a new world. And this is actually our service virtualization. Yeah, so this is a new world combined actually with UI automation. And during the call, you will see that you do not need to decide which pill to take, either blue one or red one. Here we have a joint offering, guys. Here we are speaking about close strategic partnership. So it means seamless integration. It means product and engineering working together. It means best-in-class solution, completely integrated, transparent integrated, and you are able to find INT4 also on the marketplace. Yeah. So this is our joint proposition. This is our joint value. So no more blue pills, red pills. So this is a one pocket. Marcin, do you want to add something here?
No, I actually really like this metaphor, and I like how those two worlds of the hard UI testing, which happens on the systems, and it's kind of a visible merges with the features of virtualization that allow you to actually do that testing in a manner that cuts you off from those external dependencies, as we will show. So I thank you for this metaphor, Lev, and I think let's go into the details of your UiPath suite now.
Yes, exactly. So let's start, guys, first with UiPath platform. Yeah. So UiPath is very well known as a robotic company. Is it very well known as a best-in-class UI automation tool. Yeah, so our robots can see what is happening on the screen, can think what to do, and actually do. Yeah, so this is empowered by all around technologies such as document understanding, AI, ML. So this is the core of our platform, best-in-class UI automation. When I'm going deeper, yeah, and when I'm going to break it down, and actually, you're going to ask me, Lev, why we are speaking today about robotic? We are in testing webinar, actually. Yeah. So, and guys, when you break it down and see actually both teams, testing and robotic teams, we see actually a lot of similarity. So, in both cases, software emulates a user. We are navigating through the application. We are running a set of data. So, let's call it test data. We execute and process our business steps, business processes, and the main aim actually of both disciplines is to reduce risks and reduce the costs. Yeah, and the only difference in this picture, yeah, it's that test automation is happening in pre-production environment and robotic process automation is happening in production. Yeah, so here we are speaking actually the convergence of automation. Both worlds are coming together. Yeah, and this is the reason why I have showed you UiPath robotic platform, and here you see it's actually applicable also for test automation platform. When I'm going deeper, and we will speak shortly about the UiPath platform for SAP solutions. Yeah, so it's not only UI automation. It's not only robotic. Yeah, so it starts with a discovery pillar. Yeah, where we are speaking about process mining, task mining, change mining. Then we're going to speak about UI automation, and I will show you live how to create the test case, how to run test case. We will speak today about API automation with Marcin. Yeah, data service, attended, unattended execution, like remote execution. So this is all components coming together, and this is where we found our spot. Yeah, and if so, once more we are coming back to the testing. Yeah, so it's navigation from testing to robotic. So when we are coming to the testing, what we see that UiPath test suite. Yeah, UiPath test suite is an open platform which allows you to interconnect with your current ALM tools. Yeah, so it can be SAP Solution Manager, Jira, ServiceNow, and we have extended our platform with the integration, in this case with ENT4, where we are gathering together our capabilities for SAP ADI, API testing, interface testing, and service virtualization. Yeah, once more, seamless integrated platform covering all your needs, yeah, starting from UI and going over API. So I would say that's it from the introduction point of view, and let me show you what does it mean to create UiPath test case. Yeah, and as I mentioned, so we will do UiPath platform, we will do ENT4 platform. So right now, you will see what does it mean to create UiPath test case and how you can manage this in UiPath Test Manager.
Lev, just before you start the demo, if you are warming up, I think I really like how the RPA concept of robotizing the work in the systems is actually nicely allowing actually to do test automation. And I like to think about test automation as really putting up a robot just to do the testing. And in a way, testing is just RPA, but not on the production system, but on the test and maybe on the development boxes.
Yes, right. And when we should compare these two disciplines, I would say also one of the differentiator would be that in testing you have to perform a bunch of verifications and validations. Yeah. So this is a test case. So test case without verification is not a test case. Okay. Great. So then let me show what does it mean to create as a test case. Please confirm shortly that you see my screen, you see Studio.
Yes, Lev, it's visible. Please continue.
Yeah. So this is UiPath Studio. So here I'm going to create the test case. Yeah. So let us start from scratch and let's build the first test case, creation of sales order, test case V01. Yeah. To give you just a first look and feel how it works. Yeah. So now we have just created an empty test case. It has a structure given, like prerequisites for testing, I don't know, login. Then we have a test case itself, and then we have verifications. Just to simplify, let me remove the structure and let us start building this test case. So in the first case, I would need to log on to SAP. So I'm going to use SAP S4HANA. Yeah, so let's do it. So SAP S4HANA 1909. So with this, I have built my first step. Let me run this step, and now I'm expecting that UiPath is going to open login screen. In the login screen, I would need to provide some more details. So I'm going to do this on the screen, and it will be client, it will be username, demo user. Yeah. And guys, here for the demo purpose, now I'm going to use a standard password, like a plain text. In reality, your password is security stored and encrypted in Orchestrator. Like no way somebody is going to get your password. Yeah. This is a security topic. So now I have built two test cases, two steps here. Let us run again. So now expecting login is open. I'm providing credentials. I'm in. Yeah. Let me do last step with drag and drop, and I want actually to enter transaction V01. Yeah. This is one of the way how you can build a test case with drag and drop activity. Yeah. Another way would be, let me close what we do not need. Other way would be actually to use, so let me go inside, to use UiPath recorder. Yeah. I'm here, and after this step, I want to record some test cases. Yeah. So going here, now I need to provide order type. I'm going to provide sales organization, distribution channel, and after entering division, I would need actually to hit button enter. Okay, so I'm on the next screen, need to provide customer 01. Yeah, entering this, I would need to provide ship to party, going to use the same. And last, what I need to do is provide an order reference, yeah, which will be 123, and I want to hit enter. This is a way how you're going to automate SAP. So let me just finalize this with material and with quantity, and this would be my test case to create a sales order. Once sales order is created, I'm going to save it. So sales order is saved. I'm stop recording, and here you see that the whole test case was just built now in I don't know 2 minutes. Yeah. So here's the whole test case, and at the end, actually, I would need to do a verification. I want to verify that the sales order was created successfully. Let me read status bar once more. One of the way how you can do it. Indicate this on your screen. We will get our information, and I want to verify that the red box, which is S, like a success, is S. Yeah. So message type. So let me create a variable message type, and I want to verify once more. This is a bunch of activity pre-built. Yeah. I want to verify that the message type is equal S. Yeah. So this is a success. So once it's done, my test case is good. Maybe we can run it. So let me close once more everything. Everything is closed. Test case is ready. Let me run the test case. Now we are expecting that the test case will be created. So I'm logged in. If I did everything correct, so it should run through. Entering the data. I'm on the next screen. Order reference material. Yeah. Now confirmation saving. And now you see that this verification was success. Yeah, so it was expected result. I'm good to go. And actually, for the purpose of verification, I want to grab the screenshot not only in failed test cases but also in success. Yeah, so let me activate that. I want to have a screenshot also for success execution. So I'm good. I'm done. And now, once designing of the test case is finished and you can work with the multiple teams and with version control, I'm going to say, hey guys, I'm ready to publish this. Yeah, so I'm going to set the publish. And now I'm moving this to orchestrator, which is going to be responsible for scheduling of execution. Yeah, and also I'm going to create a new test case in in my test manager, and this would be my requirements. Let's see. So this will be my release requirements. Yeah. So this test case is part of release requirements. Okay. So with this, all linkage has happened. When I'm going to look in UiPath Test Manager, now you see UiPath Test Manager, you will see here some dashboards. Yeah, so what I did during preparation of my webinar. So you will see some requirements, and here remember, so this was our release requirements, and here I have test case 001, which we have just created a few seconds ago. This is my requirements for testing. Here you will find the test case, what once more we just created. Here you will find the test set. Yeah. So this is actually your test plan. This is your test set. Let's create a new test set, new regression portfolio, whatever it is, summer. Yeah, portfolio summer. So let's do it like this. And in this test case, in this test set, yeah, I would actually assign the test cases. And in my case, let's grab the latest one, just have one. With this, we have created a new test set, my new regression, which we are going to run. So here you see, everything is available. And now, actually, I want to run this test set because I'm in daily execution. I'm going to run this. Now I'm not using Studio anymore, so we designed our test case and we just left Studio. I can close it. Yeah, we do not need it anymore. Let me close Studio. Studio is not anymore needed, and now I'm going to run test set, which contain in our example just about test case. It can be a bunch of them. So now we are expecting that the robot is going to start on my machine. Yeah, so just that you see something is happening. So the session was killed, the previous one, and now you see the execution. We are executing the test case, we are creating sales order, and then we are going to validate that the sales order was successfully created. Yeah. So automation is finished, and here in UiPath once more, you see the test case is passed. You can open the test case, you can go to the results, you will see the verification message, you will see here a screenshot. Yeah, so this is what I did, and you will find here some more details, what was executed, what has been automated. Okay, so I would say that's it. You have seen UiPath Test Manager, requirements, test cases, test sets, results, execution. You have seen how to create the test case, and now let me hand over back to Marcin to show you how ENT4 platform looks like. So Marcin, back to you.
Thank you very much. And just maybe before I jump to the INT4 presentation, I understand that as well as it was running on your computer, it could be running on any other computer, like maybe on a virtual machine somewhere, or so that it can be really done without people worrying about it. Yeah?
Yes, this is a very good point. Yes, I have to mention this. So execution was scheduled on my machine. In reality, execution is running somewhere in Citrix, somewhere in virtual machines, because you are running almost not like a one test case, but a bunch of them. Yeah. So execution on remote machines, definitely yes.
Okay. Thank you. Great. So now, when we come with this blue pill, is we're trying to complement what is already being there possible. So if you look at the screen here, it's trying to picture that there is an inherent complexity in today's business operations, and if you have your own company, like company A, that is selling something, just for the simplicity of this example, it means that you need somebody to send you a purchase order. You maybe need to send a message to warehouse to deliver the goods. The times when you would do that by phone or email are long gone right now, and in most of decently running business today, this is all being automated. And it means that if you're testing something, if you're changing anything in your SAP system, you actually need to make sure that you have a partner for this testing, so that you can complete the full test cycle and ensure that not only your system but also the cooperation with other systems is okay. And this is a complexity when you think about setting up such a landscape, because without virtualization, you would actually need a real partner out there. And that real partner, technical complexity being one thing, master data may be the second, but I think the mostly important thing is time. That if you want to test something, you need somebody to do something for you. You need to call somebody to send that test purchase order or request it, or resort to some minimal test examples which you could do by hand. And the same thing when you need to validate what you're actually sending out to that partner, to check if the structure is correct, if the data that is contained there is matching your specific business scenario. And this is where we bring in IFTT to address those two gaps that strike us when we think about that scenario. First is, well, it sounds complex, cross-organization, span testing, setup gap. And just to visualize it, think about it, like one of our customers had tried to do it, set up 34 external applications in the SIT environment. Think about master data, think about systems, think about setting all of those connections, and think how often we sometimes skip this, or how often we just test a single example because the change that we're doing is not big. Because otherwise we would have to think about other environments, about people to control those systems. You would need to think about master data maintenance, and this is all true if this is your external application within your network. It gets much more complicated if that when you need to test with the real business partner that is somewhere out there in a different company, in a different location. The other complexity is that integration is a black hole if you think about end-to-end testing. And the black hole because you don't know what's going on inside. If you're testing a scenario, there are at least 3 systems involved, like the partner system, maybe some integration server, usually somewhere there to bridge the technical translation between the systems and your system. So you're sending just one message, but there are 3 systems involved along the path. And one of those is probably outside of your control, which makes resolving issues, detecting issues complex. And while you can still do it, you're doing that somehow with your teams right now, it takes time. And our aim is to make that time minimal. So what IFTT does, it tries to structure the testing of the integration. First of all, structure it so you can control it, that you can master it finally. So we have those 3 blocks usually in our definition of the test case and test scenarios. There are those external systems that are exchanging messages through an intermediate layer, be that the SAP PO, SAP Cloud Integration. We also support sorry, got out of my head. We also support web methods and Boomi, and we're looking forward to support Azure and other integration technologies going forward. And then, of course, the SAP backend. And our focus is to validate thoroughly what is happening in the backend and what is happening in the integration platform doing our test execution. And at the same time, we offer the features to virtualize the external system. So to be able to work, to do the tests as if that external system was present, but without actually having to configure it, to own it, to manage it at all. And I think, without going further into the slides, probably I would want to jump to demo. Just maybe, Lev, anything you think we should add here before we start the presentation?
I'm looking forward actually to see the demo. Yeah, so how to create a test case in ENT4. Yeah, so how it looks like. Yeah, to show everyone this is the world of ENT4.
Okay, then. So jumping to the demo, and let me start sharing. So you should be now seeing the SAP GUI screen in front of you. And the reason you see the SAP GUI screen is because IFTT is delivered as an SAP ABAP add-on. So you don't need additional hardware, you don't need additional landscape investments. It's enough to install the add-on on one of the existing SAP systems. It's kind of a lightweight solution, not bringing any significant challenges to the landscape, and it goes by the transaction that we call cockpit. So the cockpit is used for execution and management of test cases. So it's split into 2 parts. You see the test case folders here, and when I select the specific test case folder, I will be able to see the test cases that are created here. And the one test case that I wanted to show you first is defined and built for the purpose of testing basically any scenarios that require partner virtualization. So in my demo case, I will go through a process of creating a purchase order where it's roughly a simple transaction then. So we will get the vendor data. We will be setting up some basics like purchase organization, purchasing group, company code, and with all that data put in, the next step is actually the integration with the vendor. So right now I entered the data, and you can see there is no confirmation here. So in usual circumstances, this would go to a vendor. The vendor could send you a confirmation that the goods will be shipped, and then you can continue with the process. Then you can work on the delivery, process that delivery, accept those goods, and so on. But without that confirmation, well, your test case would be stuck. So here, either you would have to manipulate somehow this system, or you would need to actually have a vendor, call him and say, hey, send me a test message. But here IFTT can come in with the execution of the virtualization. So what happened now in like 1 second is that IFTT first located the message on the integration platform with a reference document number and data that would be normally sent to the vendor. And in the next step, IFTT is generating the response that normally the vendor would send. So thanks to that, you don't need that vendor in the equation. And when you get back to your purchase order and you want to display the purchase order data, you will see the confirmation is already there. And here you can see we have tweaked it a little bit, so our process on purpose confirms just half of the quantity, so we can control that. We can also build different scenarios if you want to confirm partial or fully or different dates. It can be all done via proper messages mapping. So we can manage that in a really nice way. And this way, in different examples, wherever you need that interaction with a third party or a third party system, we can help with the virtualization part. And in this virtualization, we were kind of a responsive to the message that we've got. But the other scenario to view the virtualization is where we actually virtualize a partner that is sending you some messages. So I have this simple example here that we will then build on with order to invoice, where the test starts with your partner sending you a purchase order that you want then to convert to sales order. So here I need to have a little bit of a configuration that explains the business rules for that validation. And here I would want to simulate such a customer. So then thinking about it, doing it from scratch would be difficult. But since we are already operating with that customer, and since we have already a history of messages that this customer did send us in the past, we can actually get help of IFTT PIPO message selector. And here I can put the date in the range of which I want to search for the messages. And then IFTT will connect to the correct system in my landscape based on the environment and interface type configuration. In this case, it will connect to my test PIPO. It could also connect to a production PIPO. And then it will list all the messages that were processed in a given time on that system. And by doing so, I don't need to worry about creating that test case for integrating with my customer from scratch by designing the message manually. I can actually select messages that were processed successfully in the past with the same customer, even on the production system, transfer them, and that would create automatically the test cases. And from here, because I have the configuration in place, I can actually save those test cases, get back to edit mode, and then I can quickly run them from here, simulating just by clicking this execute select button that my customer is sending for me 4 different purchase orders. And then IFTT will send them through PI and validate the results both in the PO output and in the backend. And we'll get into a little bit more details of that validation as we continue with the presentation and the demo. For now, let me return to the slide deck for a moment. So just to name the use cases here, you've seen the virtualization case where we virtualize the EDI provider, we can virtualize the legacy system, and what you like, what you could like about this idea is that you can do the virtualization on different levels of your landscape. So obviously it's quite straightforward. If you copy messages to production to do regression testing on the quality assurance system, which is an obvious thing to do, but you can also virtualize as early as on test and development systems even, to make the life of developers easier, because they also wouldn't need to generate the documents manually, but they can actually create them automatically from scratch. And then we come to this other use case with test data creation. And I have a good story from one of our customers who actually connected the open APIs of IFTT that enable interaction with IFTT through from other systems with Slack to create a bot which allows developers to automatically repeat messages to create test data for them. So if a developer needs to test his development on new documents, then they wouldn't need to bother anybody for creating those documents for them, or resort back to some manual templates that they may only modify a little bit with a lot of struggle, but they could actually use the data that is stored as test cases in IFTT and generate it in mass to support their testing. So again, both the virtualization and test data creation allow you to shorten the time the developers and the tester teams need to actually execute testing, thanks on cutting off those external dependencies that would otherwise take off the energy. Going forward, one final thing which we'll see in the demo is the validation of business document. And here, from the UI perspective, it's quite straightforward. You might want to open the reference document, you might want to open the document from your test case, and then you could go field by field, screen by screen, and compare those values. And even I think Lev could help us here in a moment and tell us, hey, but you can do it in the UI validation. Of course, you can write a script that will click through all those fields and check their values, but running such a script would take some time, and I think it could be a bit tedious exercise to actually develop it, to be validating it correctly, if you think that different, let's say, that the differences that you see between those documents not necessarily mean that things are wrong. We could actually have a different test case where we actually would expect differences, or we know that differences are easy to accept in places like date, time, and like some document numbers. So here IFTT comes with another feature that we will see coming up live in the next part of the demo, where we can automate the document checks with the database validation. So here, we, instead of looking through the screens, we can actually directly check the recorded values in the documents and use some rules and even use some data mappings to support situations where inconsistencies of master data between production and development and test environments could be hindering the test execution. And then that's probably ideal for a mass scale test case execution, as it's several times faster than switching screens manually or in the UI scripts. So I think we're reaching slowly to a conclusion point where we can actually put it all together. So together with Lev and we prepared this demo where you will see like the full automation of testing business scenario that requires both UI testing and integration testing and API testing working together in tandem. So in our demo, we will pretend being the customer sending the purchase order that then converts to a sales order document, which we will validate. Then we will call the UI script to actually execute the delivery and warehouse picking, because that picking, it must be done manually. We don't have an interface for that in this case. And then we will validate the outbound documents with shipping notification and EDI invoice. So, okay, here we go with the second part of the demo. So let me share my screen again. Good. So I have first of all to put all elements together. I need some test scripts present in the IFTT solution. So here in the UiPath, in the order to invoice folder, I have this first pair of scripts that does the order creation and validation. So here we are virtualizing the customer, sending you the purchase order, and then we validate the automated response with sales order confirmation. And then in second step, we will validate the shipping notification and go through the invoice process, which we kind of a shortcut here with scripting. And in between the order creation and validation, the UiPath tool will actually process the delivery. And here we have this project here. We have this demo sequence that I'm opening, hopefully. Okay, it's coming up. And in this demo sequence, we already move into the UiPath environment. Yes, so you can see in the middle of the screen, I have this several steps here of the process with some initialization where I'm setting up some basic data, user passwords, and so on. Then I'm going to run the test scenario. So here we do have a dedicated activity that is delivered by INT4 to work with IFTT, which will run the test scenario. So you need to provide the test scenario folder number, which you can take from IFTT. We say we are waiting for completion, we don't want to run subfolders, and I'm working on a specific landscape. What is important is that running of this test scenario will also provide me some test run data in this variable, which will allow me to connect it again back to the next steps of the process. In this case, I need the sales order number, so I can pass it on to delivery processing automation script. Okay, then you've seen the logon, login steps, calling the transaction. And the next step here is the creation of the outbound delivery. So I don't want to go through all of those details, but you see here that the script is filling in the values, and here it's actually picking up the sales order number from the test case that we've run previously, and then it will go through the subsequent steps, finally through picking down to the post of goods issue and creation of the delivery, where I will capture the delivery number in a variable so that I can use it in the next step of the execution. So then again, I go with the running of IFTT test scenario, and in the end, I'm going to launch Chrome to display the results in IFTT format. That's just for the demo purpose. Normally, the results would be returned back to test orchestrator tool from UiPath, and you wouldn't need to even bother about that IFTT testing and virtualization was inside. Lev, anything you think I should add here to this UiPath process description before we run it?
No, it looks good actually. This is combined power as we discussed here. So some steps are happening with API because it's dependency on vendor systems. Yeah, then we are doing UI, and it's good. Just hit the button, run, and let's see what is going to happen. Okay.
So the scenario runs. So first thing, you see this orange bar at the bottom, and this is because the process already started. So right now UiPath Studio is in executing this test, and first it will call IFTT to do the virtualization of the sales order part. In a moment, we should see how it goes towards the delivery processing screen. So we have the SAP login. We will have the logon screen. Ooh, I think we've hit an error here. Let me maybe just try running it again. I'm not sure what exactly happened.
So no worries about errors. Yeah, so you're doing testing, so it's good.
Yeah, I think the case was that for some reason the connection to SAP took too long in our demo scenario, which probably triggered the error message. Okay, now we can see it's going forward. We can actually see it's going to log into the SAP system. I think I have too many open SAP windows here.
Let's close everything and run it again.
Okay, let me just close them. I think it's confusing a little bit, the script. Yeah, so normally that would be running on a separated machine, which wouldn't cause those surprises. Okay, so one final try. So now it's calling the transaction screen. It will provide the order number that is given by IFTT, and now it will go through the picking confirmation. What is important is this script could be universal, because it's not just putting down here numbers, but it's actually copying the existing numbers to the picked quantity. So that script would also work if there would be different values in the document. So you can see now that SAP created the delivery document and saved it. Now the script will close the SAP window and will continue to run the second part of the execution of the virtualization steps in IFTT. Okay, so the execution in the background of the IFTT testing was completed. And now the final step is actually we open the browser window with IFTT test execution report. Again, as I mentioned, this is done just for the demo purpose. In the normal scenario, you would be going through a different story. Oh, I actually have a failure. Much more interesting demonstration than compared to the one that we had in the morning. But let's see what happened. So our sales order was created, and here let me dive into what exactly happened with this virtualization of the inbound sales order. So not only we send the document to the integration platform, but we then also capture the actual output. So we can see that there's the reference message that was captured when we created the test case and the current execution, and they are being compared one by one, field by field, to actually showcase that there is some differences. In our case, this test case should be passing through. That is why all the difference that you see here, we have configured to be warnings so that the test case execution goes smoothly. Now, in the second step, we are actually comparing the data in the backend, where IFTT logs into the SAP ECC system, extracts the original document and the document currently created during the test execution, and compares field by field for the set of fields that we've configured. And again, here we can see in yellow that there is a difference. The date, of course, can be different, but in terms of document values, as it goes for the business data, for the sales order line items, they are actually correct. So going forward through the validation steps, as I mentioned, the virtualization engine can also validate the data that is going out. So we know that once the sales order is created, our system is configured to send out the confirmation, and that confirmation will go also through some mapping in PIPO, and then we expect an ENCOM document that shows the confirmation here. And we can see it, and again, the engine compares the data within the document, and is providing back the feedback about this. So if anything would be wrong in your configuration that would drive the mapping wrongly, or different data would be coming through, IFTT would highlight this as red and actually show that the test case is failed, and such result would be returned back to UiPath test execution, so that the data could be returned back to the user. So after the sales order virtualization part was done, you've seen the delivery processing, which completed the delivery, and then we have validation of the shipping notification. So something failed. Let's see what it's there. Okay, so for some reason, the document actually wasn't found. It's hard to say why. We probably need to get back into SAP. But here, at least, we do see that for this document, we have the specific document number, and using that, we can quickly go through SAP and find what was the exact root cause of this failing, and then based on that, decide what should be our correct action. What we can see is that probably there was some timing issue. It's hard to say what happened exactly without researching, but we know that the ASN topic is not working correctly, and we need to look into that. But then we can see, okay, at least the invoice creation and interface validation went out, so we can see, okay, the invoice document was found with actually the right document number and with the right data in SAP and in the integration platform. So we're good with this test execution. Okay, I don't know, Lev. Do you think we should add anything here on those results?
So I think this was really good example. So as we did our previous webinar, and it was all good, all green, yeah. And we had even the question how it looks like if it is failed. So now, guys, this was able to you were able to see what does it mean failed, yeah. And you will get this failure actually in ENT4 on ENT4 side, and also when we are going to do automation with UiPath. So in case something is going wrong, we will let you also know what it is.
Mm-hmm.
And here we are coming actually to the end of our presentation. Key takeaway, yeah, you do not need to decide which pill to take, red one or blue one, yeah. So here you have a best-in-class solution covering all your automation needs, yeah, starting from UI, going over API, over interfaces, and ending up with service virtualization, yeah. Key topics: enable automation end-to-end, yeah. Do not rely on third-party systems, and this all will lead to speed up, actually, to reduce delays in your SAP S4HANA project. Great. So I think we have just approached the time for Q&A. To the Q&A session, we have plenty of questions, and Marcin, let us grab one by one. Let's see what we would be able to answer, and the rest we will come back to people.
Okay, good. So the first one I've got from Wasim is, can you also please touch base on the test data management with this tool?
Yeah. I think this was maybe it can be both. Yeah. So if you are thinking about UiPath, then yes, we have a capability to store your test data. Marcin is going to help us actually to create such huge amount of data, and then during the automation we are going to consume the data. Yeah, like a test data management capabilities are part of the tool. Yeah, so we can work with them, we can manage them, we know which data were consumed. Yeah, so this is like an essential part. Yeah, so test data, the answer is yes, we can.
Okay, thank you, Lev. Not much I can add here, so let's take another one. Also, does this tool has capability to log defects automatically in case of any execution failure? Well, I'm not sure about you, Lev, but for me, the simple answer is yes. So at least from IFTD perspective, we integrate with Jira, we integrate with the SAP Solution Manager for defect reporting. And I guess, Lev, your test organization tools also have similar capabilities.
Yeah, so here, if we are speaking, so this is the slide I showed you, the integration of third-party tools with UiPath. Yeah, so yes, we can log defects in Jira, in ServiceNow. So maybe let me jump back to this picture. Yeah, so it can be, so all your common tools for your ALM needs are interconnected with the test manager, and you can log such defects. Yeah, if it should be done automatically, this is, I would say, this is a big discussion which we can have, I would say, separately. Yeah, so this is a methodological question, if it should be logged automatically or somebody needs to check it before it is going to be logged. Yeah, so this is topic to discuss for deep dive. Okay.
Okay, the next one. In terms of volumes, how many tests can we do in parallel from Yunus? I guess this is a question of the landscape a little bit as well. Do you have experience left with kind of a bigger installations that we can share here?
Yeah, so this is good question, not completely clear, Jonas. Yeah. So if you are thinking about running parallel, so as Martin showed you, yeah. So in T4 can run like thousands of test cases like at once. Yeah. So if you are thinking about UiPath, then I have also like a plenty of robots which are going to run it like also I don't know 20 different virtual machines. Yeah. So volumes we can run parallel. How many test case it once more it depends what do you mean by the test case. Yeah, but so in UI world we are typically speaking about like 20, 30, 100 test cases. In case of API testing we are speaking about like 1,000, 10,000 test cases. Yeah, so this is a volume.
Thank you. Okay, next question from Charlotte. Is automation of unit tests not of your concern? So let me put it from at least from the integration testing perspective. We do we do allow various types of testing. I was showing off those those large test cases where there's document going through and database validation, but we also support the smaller test cases like integration platform unit testing, just to checking if the message goes through correctly. And I think, from the perspective of UiPath, you can also do smaller or bigger test cases.
Agree here. Yeah.
Okay. The next one from Charlotte. How do you usually implement this in an agile team?
Yeah, so once more, very good question, and it depends on your organization, how you are set. Yeah, so I'm having discussions with customer when we are speaking actually. So this was actually last week. Yeah, so they're doing like implementation sprint number 1, and then in sprint number 2 they're doing testing. Yeah, so they're like always one sprint delayed after the implementation. Yeah. And now we are speaking to this customer and saying, hey, it would make sense actually to develop and implement testing actually in one sprint to be on speed. Yeah. So how it's usually implemented once more depends on your organization. The overall approach is to develop and actually to test it in one sprint. Yeah. If I should simplify this. Yeah.
And I think that's a big question about the organization. I think one part of the question is also the technical one. I think so. Assuming the organization is using some processes to support their agile development, like maybe continuous integration and continuous delivery, then I think the good thing technically is that both UiPath script execution and IFTT execution can be scripted. So if you want to have an agile team that uses, let's say, Scrum, for example, there's a question how they test. But if they use test automation on that continuous integration, continuous deployment model, and those scripts would need to do execute tests in order to release the developments to the next step in the pipeline, then definitely this cooperation is possible. So I think both UiPath and IFTT can be executed from within a script and triggered and results being made available. So from technical side, we could easily support the usual deployment methods that are around the agile team in place.
Okay, let's navigate to the next one.
Another one from Kishore. This is all good. Can you show some failed test cases and the response this tool shows to user? Do you have an example left on UiPath? How the response is given from the test organization tools if the test execution fails?
Not really, yeah, but actually we have seen this shortly in your demo when you showed that one of the test cases was failing, yes, and you see it red. and I would say the same. So let me check if I would be able to find something.
In the meantime, I can actually show that one.
Yeah.
So issued here, this is the test execution report when one test case failed, and I was just repeating them massively. So this is my test system. Those things can happen. So here in this end-to-end test execution, IFTT is checking two things. First, it checks the message that was created by the integration platform, and here this comparison was actually passed. This was okay. And then the next comparison goes against the backend date document validation. So here we can see that the reference document had one set of data, and then the current document had a different set of data. So IFTT is, for this deep validation, is actually highlighting every difference that is not considered okay, like the date difference is considered okay by the configuration. The difference here on the cumulative quantity is considered an error. So here you see this is highlighted in red. The wrong value is striked out, and you can exactly see even which database field is containing the wrong value in this test execution.
Yeah, and once more the same will be shown in UiPath when UI automation is going to break. Yeah. So we will take a screenshot. We can take a short video, I don't know, like 20 seconds before this error occurs. Yeah, and you will get all this information available for you for analysis. Okay. Okay. So next question.
I love this one from Amit. Same set of steps can be performed by UiPath. Then why go for IFTT?
Where to start to answer this from the beginning of the story? Yes, so as you have seen, so here, yes, UiPath can do UI automation, yeah, but the main point was here about speed, yeah. So with API, you can perform much more, and maybe the best one would be actually service virtualization and API, yeah. So your system are not available. You are dependent on your partner system, on your ADI provider. You cannot do like a real testing. So you can manipulate, you can simulate, and this is what is happening. This offering it's much broader. It's bring you to the world, as we discussed before, to the world of your dreams, where you can test really end to end. Yeah? Coming from provider, doing UI, doing API. Yeah? So to come to the reality as close as possible.
I think the virtualization is probably the biggest set of the answer here, and if that didn't resonate through the demo, there's a lot of things happening in the background when you do this validation of interfaces, and I think if you'd really want to record all of that in the UI testing tools, I think you could. I mean, probably yes, but then I think the effort versus the ratio of the amount of test cases you would get, that would go really low, because with IFTT you have this opportunity to massively test hundreds and thousands of messages, and then mix it with UI testing where necessary, which I haven't seen that massive scale grow up using the UI tools only. Okay, close to running out of time. From Yunus again, few questions. In which scenarios can we talk about this with our clients? Do you have any clients where this is already live? Can you share some metric? How about the cost put together? I think we could probably reach out to Yunus after the presentation with the more details. I think this is kind of going a little bit more into a sales conversation here.
Yes, right.
So Yunus, we'll get back to you after the meeting.
So let's grab the last one.
The last one from Iago. Does UiPath support component-based testing? If so, how does it manage the components in order to maximize reutilization, ease component maintenance, and so on?
Yeah. So the question is yes. So we have a concept of reusability. Yeah. So you can share your. So we are calling this like libraries or snippets. Yeah. So you can share your artifacts between different teams. Yeah. You can use the same automation, yeah, piece for robotic process automation, for test automation. Yeah, you have a full version control with GitHub, with Microsoft. Yeah, so whatever you can imagine under components and reusability, this concept is here. Once more, super powerful. If you want to know more, just speak to me, and I will share how it works. Yeah. So definitely yes, and this is one of our core competence to allow ease of use and maximize reusability, reutilization.
From Robert, does IT4 work in environments where ABAP add-on is not possible, like S4HANA public cloud? There is that, like in this most basic offering from S4HANA, we wouldn't be able to directly install IFTT, and that's a kind of a limitation here. So if you only have the basic cloud offering for S4HANA, that could be a limitation for us. However, I don't want to promise too much, but being aware of those challenges and looking forward to extending the capabilities of our tooling, we have a long-term roadmap element that would be to deliver IFTT in a version that can run on the SAP BTP directly. So then this limitation would no longer be an issue. For now, we would probably need to enter a deeper conversation to see if we could actually help. But if it's just the S4HANA public cloud, then we might have a blocker there. Okay.
Okay. So
Then
next question.
the next question, I think, Lev, is more to you as it goes.
Yes.
What is the status of your business impact analysis tool from
Yes.
Silva?
Yes, good question. So let me jump back into presentation mode. And here we are speaking actually about our integration with Kturn, with SAP Change Impact Mining. So this is a tool which is going to support your business impact analysis. And this is, I would say, out of the scope for today's webinar, as we have spoken about ADI API testing. So if you are interested in this topic, so let me speak to you. We did also a public webinar a month ago, so you can search for it, and I will share the link maybe in the chat. So then you can see how it works, how it behaves. So this solution is available today, can be used by the customer. So we are ready to go. Okay.
Okay. Actually, I don't see any other question from the audience now. So maybe just one more minute. If anybody else have a question, please write it down in the chat window. Okay, then. If there are no more questions, then thank you very much for your... Oh, that's one more. One more from Silva. Just in time. Just in time. No, it's okay. Reporting capabilities. Maybe I have missed it since I was not in the whole time. How are your dashboards and reporting capabilities to monitor test progress? I think, Lev, you can take it, given the orchestrator would definitely have some test reporting dashboard.
Yeah. Exactly, very good point. So I do not know how you are. So how are your dashboards? So yes, dashboards are available. Yeah, you will get a list of test cases which are going to fail, which were like positive and good executed. Yeah, and what we are providing, and this is back to the point. So I'm still actually on this slide. Yeah. So the whole platform built as an open interface. Yeah. So it means you will get your reporting in Test Manager itself, but also you would be able to connect to other reporting tools such as Power BI. Yeah, as an example. So it's a matter where you want to see the reporting. So reporting is available like on both sides, in Test Manager itself and outside. Yeah, and so reporting is standalone, so it's a part of Test Manager. Yeah, and once more, if you want to use more flexibility, then it's easy to connect to Power BI to do all stuff around. Okay, great. So then, Martin, it's time to say goodbye. It was a pleasure to speaking to you guys. But still a question. Can we reuse? So maybe we can go in a question mode. So can we reuse the UiPath test cases that you created, for example, in the different test data from an Excel file? So definitely yes. So different data sources are possible, and yes, you can integrate it with any such of Excel, or even you can use UiPath test data management, where you're going to maintain all your data, where you're going to collect your data and consume actually during the execution. So test data is one of essential component, I would say, of our solution. So it's time to say thank you and goodbye.
Thank you very much, Lev. It was a pleasure to host this webinar with you. Thank you very much for the excellent demos, and thank you to all the participants for your attention.
INT4 IFTT, leader in SAP-centric automated integration testing.